Hello again, and welcome back to Talk Economy. If life feels more expensive lately, even without a crisis, you're not imagining it. Around the world, countries are quietly adjusting how they trade, borrow, and move money. Not in a dramatic collapse, not in a sudden crash, but in a slow shift that shows up in prices, jobs, and everyday decisions. Today, we're breaking down this quiet global economic tension and why it affects almost everyone, and in everyday decisions people are forced to make. When people hear the phrase economic war, they often imagine sanctions, tariffs, or dramatic confrontations. But that's not what's happening most of the time. What we're seeing today is quieter. Countries are trying to protect themselves from risks they don't fully control. Risks coming from currency swings, supply chain disruptions, interest rates set somewhere else, and geopolitical decisions they don't vote on. So instead of open conflict, we're seeing economic positioning, moves meant to reduce exposure, not to win, but to avoid losing. This didn't start in one place. The world came out of a pandemic, massive stimulus programs, global supply shocks, and the fastest interest rate hikes in decades. At the same time, trust between systems became more fragile. Many countries realized something uncomfortable. If your economy depends too heavily on one currency, one trade route, or one financial system, you are vulnerable. That realization didn't cause panic. It caused rethinking. Now let's talk about the US dollar. Carefully. The dollar is still the world's dominant currency. Oil is still priced in dollars. Major commodities are still priced in dollars. Global finance still runs through dollar-based systems. That has not changed. What has changed is how comfortable countries feel being fully dependent on it. So instead of abandoning the dollar, many countries are doing something quieter. They're trying to rely on it less where they can. That shows up as trade settled in local currencies, bilateral agreements outside the dollar, and gradual diversification of reserves. This is not rebellion, it's risk management, and it's slow, uneven, and experimental. It's important to be clear about this. This is not the end of the dollar. There is no global replacement ready, there is no single alternative system, and there is no sudden shift happening. What is happening is pressure that makes the global economy less predictable, more fragmented, and more expensive to operate. And uncertainty itself has a cost. For countries outside the United States, this environment creates trade-offs. Countries in Latin America, Europe, and Asia benefit from global trade, investment flows, and access to international capital. But they also feel the downside: currency volatility, imported inflation, higher borrowing costs. Governments are trying to stay integrated while reducing exposure. That balance is difficult and rarely clean. This is where the conversation becomes personal. When currencies move more, prices become less stable. When interest rates stay high longer, investment slows. When trade becomes fragmented, efficiency drops. And when efficiency drops, costs don't come back down easily. That's why many people feel like prices never really fall. Wages struggle to catch up, and life feels tighter even without a crisis. Not because the system broke, but because it's adjusting. This moment isn't about panic or prediction. It's about awareness. In an environment like this, flexibility matters more than perfect timing. Resilience matters more than chasing growth narratives. That can mean being cautious with debt, keeping financial margins where possible, and avoiding assumptions that easy money is returning soon. The goal isn't to outsmart the system, it's to avoid being surprised by it. The global economy isn't at war in the traditional sense. It's repositioning, quietly, gradually, unevenly. And these shifts take years, not weeks, to fully play out. Understanding that helps move past fear, past headlines, and toward clearer decisions. That's what we aim to do here on Talk Economy. Thanks for being here.